Kamino Finance is one of the best airdrop targets within the Solana ecosystem, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly how you can get a super high points boost. Now, currently, my average points boost on Kamino Finance is 10.9x. However, some people in my Discord have managed to get points boost over 15 or 16x. And the strategy to achieve this is relatively simple, and you can actually rank up super quickly. So just 7 to 10 days ago, I was ranked 75,000. So I have ranked up over 27,000 spots over the last week and a half just by using this strategy. And I'm not even using that much capital. In this wallet right here, I have just under 13 SOL net value deposited onto the platform. So I'm gonna walk you through step by step how you can actually achieve this kind of points boost multiple, and then we'll talk about the risks and rewards because there's a few things that you have to keep in mind. If you want to get 15, 16x, you might have to push the leverage pretty far, and there's obviously additional risks with doing that. But if we go here to rates and boosts, we can see that there's multipliers for specific types of lending and borrowing. So for example, if you lend SOL tokens to the platform, you get a 5x multiplier. But if you borrow them, you only get a 3x multiplier. And then with stable coins like USDC, USDT, and USDH, if you borrow them from the platform, you get a 5x multiplier. But if you lend them to the platform, you only get a 3x multiplier. So the way to maximize your points boost is to lend SOL to the platform and then borrow stable coins against it. So let me take you over here to the borrow and lend tab. So right now I have lent 12 SOL to the platform and I've borrowed 500 USDC. So the strategy would be to supply SOL tokens to the platform in your first transaction if you're just starting this. So you can scroll down here, select the SOL asset, and then hit on supply. The next step is to select how much you want to supply. So let's say I'm going to put in one more SOL here, hit deposit, and then confirm the transaction in your wallet. Now, if this is the first time you've ever made a deposit onto Kamino Finance, there will be an additional fee, but then when you actually make the withdrawal, you get most of that back. So let's confirm that transaction there. And just for a frame of reference, right now, my points boost went down a little bit, but that's because it takes a second for the platform to adjust. So we'll see, we'll come back, and by the end of this, I can pretty much guarantee you, it'll be even higher than the 10.9x that I started with. So once you supply some SOL tokens to the platform, the next step is to borrow one of the 3 stable coins that is boosted with a 5x multiple. So that's USDC, USDT, or USDH. Now, sometimes the caps for these are close to filled. So right now you can't borrow any USDT. There's a very small amount of USDC borrowing cap. So let's click here, go to borrow, and what's the max that I can borrow? Okay, so it would let me borrow the theoretical max against this. So for this, let's actually just go ahead and borrow $250. So I'm gonna confirm this transaction here and confirm it in the wallet. So if I scroll back up here, now I can see that I have lent 13 SOL and borrowed 750 USDC. Now, I want to talk about this for a second because this is one of the most important parts of this strategy. You need to keep an eye on the loan to value ratio, and you want to make sure that you stay very far away from the liquidation point. So the liquidation LTV is 75%, and currently my portfolio can drop $700 in value before the position would be liquidated. So personally, I don't want to be anywhere near that liquidation point. I want to keep mine in the green ideally, so that's why I'm trying to keep the LTV below 50%, especially since the price of Solana has skyrocketed recently. If there's a correction, I don't want to actually lose the value of all this capital that I'm putting onto the platform. And so you have to decide what LTV percentage you are comfortable with to be able to sleep well at night, basically. But you can push this as far as you want, and the further that you push it, the more likely it is that you'd be liquidated if there's a major price correction. However, obviously you get more points and a way better multiple. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is net APY here. So this is taking the APY that you're getting for supplying to the platform and then subtracting the APY that you're paying to borrow from the platform. So since I'm supplying 13 SOL at a 5% APY pretty much, and I'm borrowing 750 USDC at almost a 16% APY, the net APY of this, if I hold this position right now, is minus 3.59%, which is not bad. And what you have to consider this as is the carrying cost for keeping this position open in order to farm the airdrop. So this is the cost that you're paying in order to get those points boost. Look, already I'm up to 11.7x boost, and I haven't even started doing the looping, which I'm going to show you in a second. So this carrying cost, in my opinion, will be worth it because you're only going to keep this position open for a month or two until the actual Kamino token drops, and then you can unwind the position. And so that is how you have to consider this. Basically, the cost to keep this position open in order to farm the airdrop. Now, the other thing that's important to say is that if your net APY is negative and you hold the position open for a month or two, then when you go to close the position, you're going to need to make sure that you have enough assets in your wallet to pay the interest and unwind the position. So you don't want to be doing this strategy and depositing all of your assets down to the very last penny. Of course, you need to keep some SOL tokens in your wallet anyways to pay for transaction fees, but it's definitely smart to at least make sure that you have the ability to pay this net APY. All right, so now that we've talked about that, let's discuss the next step in this process, because you can actually juice this even further by taking the USDC or whatever stablecoin that you manage to borrow. And these fluctuate, by the way, so some people will be putting money in and taking money out at different times. So you should be able to just monitor it and then find a moment where you can actually borrow at least a couple $100s from it. But once you get those stablecoins in your wallet, the next step is to go over to an exchange like Jupiter, or you can actually do this right in your wallet, but swap the USDC for Solana tokens. So let's do this right here. I'm gonna hit swap and confirm the transaction in my wallet. And once you have made the swap into more SOL tokens, you can go back to the platform and then supply them. So now I can deposit 2 more SOL tokens onto the platform. Let's hit deposit here and confirm this transaction in the wallet. And making this deposit is going to improve the LTV of my portfolio because I'm adding more collateral. So that is the process. And then now that I have more collateral, I could theoretically borrow more USDC against it. And so you loop this as many times as you want, borrowing and lending, and then swapping and borrowing and lending again until you reach a points multiple that you're happy with and an LTV that you're happy with as well. Now again, just to highlight, where this strategy goes wrong is if the price of Solana goes down by a lot, because then the amount that I've borrowed relative to the amount of the collateral that I've supplied is a lot higher. The LTV gets worse and there's more risk for liquidation. So you have to keep an eye on this, especially if you see the price of Solana start going down. And so this strategy is a lot riskier actually today than it was a couple days ago when Solana was kind of trading flat and was only at $100, $110 per token. But now it's run up to over 131 in the last day or two. And so that makes this type of looping strategy riskier. Although if the price of Solana keeps going up, then your LTV will get even better and you'll be able to get more points and use more leverage on the Kamino Finance platform. So that is how this strategy works. I think I've explained the risks, but you do have to be careful. You have to monitor the price of the assets that you're borrowing and lending and make sure that your LTV stays within a suitable range. The net APY I'm not so worried about because, like I said, that is just the carrying cost to farm this airdrop. Now, I've also actually used the multiply feature on the Kamino app using BSOL, which is a liquid stake token, and I'm using 4x leverage on this. Now, the LTV on this is higher, but it's less risky unless there's a massive depeg event because BSOL is borrowed against SOL, which are correlated assets. But you don't actually need to do this. You can actually just do the first part of the strategy, which is lending SOL, borrowing stables, and looping it. And so that is how you can get crazy 10, 12, even 15x points multipliers on Kamino Finance and rank up quickly with a relatively small amount of capital. So currently, after those transactions I just showed you, my average points boost is now up to 11.8x. And the final thing that I wanted to say is that this strategy is essentially a leveraged long Solana play. So you are betting on either the price of Solana staying stable so that you can just farm the points for this Kamino airdrop, or even better, the price of Solana going up so that you farm the points for the airdrop and you actually make money on the trade. However, if the price of Solana goes down from the point where you actually set up this leverage trade, then you will still be earning points for the Kamino Finance airdrop, which is great, but there is the risk that you could actually lose money on the trade itself because you're supplying Solana and borrowing stable coins, and you have to pay back those stable coins even if the price of Solana goes down. So hopefully you found this tutorial helpful, and of course, make sure that you understand the risks and do your own research before doing this because you do not want to get liquidated. Good luck farming this airdrop, and I'll see you in the next video.